When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Make We Talk program this afternoon. We're not going to talk politics today. There's Breast Cancer Month, and we're going to speak to Miss Sherine Henry, a woman who has been through a lot, and someone who I know very well. Miss Henry, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Savaris. Thank you.
You can call me Jeffrey, man.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Tell us your journey. How did you know you had breast cancer? What symptoms did you have? How did you know you had it?
Well, I was a person who always kept up with my health, regular doctor checkups and whatever. And I was known to have what they call dense breasts, meaning I have like complicated fatty tissues in my breast instead of, some persons don't have fatty tissues. I do. So after doing several mammograms over the years, it was recommended that I start doing self-exams as my mammograms would look the same. So it was a habit of mine to do a self-exam in the shower when I'm lying down. And this was like a daily routine for me. However, my son and I used to like to read together. And it so happened that one night he came and lay across my chest and we were reading and talking. And I felt a little sharp pain. Wasn't a big area, but just a sharp pain. And so after I asked him to get up, then I did again my own self-exam. This time I found it was painful and a harder mass. I would have cysts, yes, because I had fatty tissue. So I know what a cyst felt like. A cyst is more softer, more pliable to move around and stuff like that. But this one was stable, didn't move, was just a hard, sharp pain. And so I knew something was wrong at that moment.
Tell us some more of what went on during your time going through the breast cancer.
Before actually even going up into breast cancer treatment and all of that, being that it's Breast Cancer Month, I kind of want the audience to be aware of steps that are taken when you find something that feels abnormal. A yearly mammogram is highly recommended, especially for certain people, like in my group that have fatty tissues. Then a yearly mammogram, if a mammogram cannot pick up enough of what the doctors need to see, then you may have to do an ultrasound. After I realized that I had something unusual, it was about the same time I had to do a mammogram. So I went in and I told them, and I know where it was. They probably wouldn't have found it because of how far up it was in my chest. It wasn't like, based on the location. So I indicated to the technicians as to where I think I found an issue. they did do a special exam and did pick up an unusual mass. From there, it was recommended that I do an ultrasound. Um, and all this was done like in a very short period of time. So I did the mammogram, say in 1 month. That by the next month, I had the ultrasound going. And a few days later, I was sent to do a biopsy. Um, Throughout all of this, I remained positive and strong, which is something that I found you have to have to fight any illness or this illness. Um, the one time I felt down was when I had to do the biopsy, and that's because I'm scared of like blood and piercings and incisions, and there you have to do a piercing, and I actually smelt the blood at that time, and so I got really scared. I'm not hearing you. You're on mute.
Sorry, I'm in my mind. Sorry. Let me ask you this, Mr. Henry. In when you're going through all of this, um, how did your family feel? I mean, your kids was with you and everything like that. Your son is living with you, yes? And how did he cope with it?
um at first, I did the mammogram, ultrasound, everything. I did that alone. I didn't want them to see all of that. Um, but after I found out, because I did tell them that something feels unusual, so I slowly delivered the news in pieces. And so when I got the confirmation that this was indeed a mass that had to be treated,
Yes.
um, I came home and I sat them down. And one of the things that needs to be done is when you're going through stuff like this is to be open and honest with your children. And so I told them what was going on. You could see the sadness, yes, but I tried to stay strong for them. Um, my daughter was in college. I think it kind of took a toll on her, um, because she was the older one living at home.
Hmm.
And so she kind of took on a lot of the mother role. Um, my son was in middle school and he took it a little bit harder. However, with family support and all of that, I kind of made it through at one point. My daughter, who had gone through, a few illnesses on her of her own, a few health issues, is has a more strong personality when it comes to illnesses and stuff. My
Hmm.
son, not understanding, at one point, I had to sit him down and explain that what I'm going through, I will get better. It wasn't at the stage where, I think it would get bad, but you have to provide that family support. And there was family that would come in and talk to them and stuff like that. And I had a lot of family support. So when I broke the news to the extended family, um, one member of the family designated himself as driver to take me to and from treatment. And
That's your
so,
uncle.
yes. And so I never missed a day. He never missed a day. And so I was chauffeured back and forth to all these appointments. I was never alone. Um, and then came the time to make a decision. I mean, one doctor, well, he was a specialist that said, "Oh, just go ahead and call Doctor So and so. They already recommended their doctors." But I had a primary care doctor. They are already recommending doctors that, "Oh, you may just need to do a lumpectomy, and he's good at that. You take it out and blah blah blah." And they think that
Hmm.
would be it. And I'm like, "No, this don't sound too right. Let me call my primary care physician and let him know what diagnosis is." Apparently, they would have to send him the report and all of that too. So I called him and I'm like, a specialist is telling me or recommending the doctor to me already. And he's like, "No, no, 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 no." At that time, I didn't even know the process of whether somebody does a surgery before treatment. doing chemotherapy after treatment or before treatment. Come to find out, the doctor said to me, no, you don't know what kind you have, what type you have, whether you need treatment before surgery or surgery before treatment.
Yes.
So at that point, it was a deja vu moment for me. I didn't know that you have different kinds, and some would take treatment before surgery, and some would be surgery before treatment. And so I was recommended to a hospital, and went set up an appointment there, and started my consultation with a very good what they call oncologists.
Hmm. So let me, yes.
But,
So when you went into the oncologist, what happened after that?
um, I think when I went to the hospital, I didn't actually see the oncologist first. The first appointment I got was with a breast surgeon.
Yeah.
So there were two appointments, one with an oncologist who is like just the breast cancer specialist, and one is a
Mhm.
breast cancer surgeon. So the first appointment I got was the breast cancer surgeon, because in my head I'm thinking I'm going to do surgery, get rid of it, and I'm done. However, when I went to the surgeon, she said we cannot do anything now because of the type of cancer that you're diagnosed with.
Mm.
Um, we have to send you to an oncologist first.
So, so, so,
So
in, so in other words, that type of cancer is a rapid type of cancer. Then it spread a lot. Was it? Is that the type?
at that time, I didn't know.
Okay.
What I found out at the time was that there are different hormones that are present um, in some cancer patients.
Hmm.
Um, so some can be positive for some hormones, some people are negative. I was positive for all these hormones that they're looking at. So what she said is the type that you have. Um, she actually gave me the name and draw pictures and show me exactly what she was looking at. But the type that
Hmm.
I had to do chemo first. I actually was diagnosed with the one that would be very aggressive and grow rapidly.
Mm.
And there, I, due to my faith and my trust in God, I still wasn't afraid. And deep down in my heart, I knew everything was going to be okay. And so I took the recommendation. I went to my appointment with the oncologist. However, when I went to the oncologist, as I said, I pray a lot. I, talk to God a lot. Um, so this time, my family member is the person who is taking me back and forth, even though I'm still running around healthy and, doing everything just the
Hmm.
same. He insisted that no, I needed company, I needed the support, so I would be driven. When I had my first consultation with the oncologist, I thought, okay, I'm going to start treatment. Everything is going to be fine and I'll be done in no time. Got there, and the oncologist looked at me and said, I don't know what to do with you.
Wow.
Um, well,
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
well, at that point,
Yes.
I didn't know what she meant by that. So she started to draw a diagram on a whiteboard she has in
Hmm.
the exam room. And I said, what do you mean? Um, and she said to me, in order to give you the proper line of treatment, I have to be sure that this hormone that shows up that you're positive with, I have to be sure that you're actually positive. And I still didn't understand. I said, what do you mean? She said, um, your tumor should have been rapidly growing and spreading, but
Wow.
it's behaving like it's benign.
Mm.
And I look up to the heavens and I said, my God, the size that I started with is the same size by the time I got to the oncologist. Nothing happened.
It wasn't. It was like your face or a little round ball, like.
It wasn't even that big. So
Okay.
it wasn't, I was at a stage one at the time. So they had to do the staging or whatever. I was told I was at a stage one. So it wasn't like anything that was huge and protruding and, causing any disruptions with my daily activities and stuff like that. Um, but when she said she doesn't know what to do with me, I was appalled. And then
Mhm.
she said, it looks like it's behaving benign. So she's not sure I'm even positive for all these hormones. So I said, how do you know? And me, I have to know the whole thing. And you have to go tell me layman terms because I need to know.
Yeah.
And she said to me, what we normally do is we look at it under a microscope. And when we look at it under a microscope, um, we don't see it moving. It's not
Mhm.
growing, it's not doing anything. So from the biopsy is when they take a sample. So when you do the biopsy, they take a sample to test to make sure that that is what is happening. And when they do the biopsy, they place a clip so that anytime you do a mammogram or anything after that,
Yeah.
somebody knows that that area was already taken care of. So they leave like a metallic clip or something in your body to indicate that you had a biopsy.
Mhm.
Um, however, um, when she said that when she said that I needed
Mhm.
to wait, I was like, but it's gonna grow. Um, this is when I got a little bit scared. I was like, it's gonna grow. I don't know how long I have. Um, and the doctor was like, no, I can assure you that we're gonna send you to do MRIs and whatever, because we don't see it moving. So we just have to be sure because we have to. If I'm negative, it makes a difference whether I'm negative or positive for this particular hormone.
Mhm.
So if I'm positive, it would mean that it's aggressive and be spreading and growing, whatever. If I'm negative, it means that it's a different course of treatment. At this point, um, I was tested positive, but she's saying, I'm not sure because
Yeah.
you don't have the symptoms of somebody who has this positive hormone. So I had to wait. I just had to say, okay. And I looked up again and I said, God, I, at this time, I was talking to God, not really going down on any knees and praying. I was just talking to him on a daily.
Busy.
So I did my MRI.
Mhm.
Um, and in one of the conversations with my family member back from the hospital, he was giving me experiences and stuff like that. And he said to me, I believe that I have always been a picky eater.
Mhm.
Um, and I like to watch what I eat, and I don't eat certain things, and I don't eat things that have certain things in there, and all of that. And he said to me, "This is what is keeping your body."
Mhm. I see
Um,
somebody in the chat, Miss Henry, somebody in the chat in saying, "What a lady, pretty. Thanks for sharing."
yeah, thank you. Um, and so when that happened, I had to wait my 2 weeks. I went and did my MRI, all of that, and went back to the oncologist. When I went to the oncologist, it was with bated breath, but I still remained strong. I went there and she said, yes, you're positive. It's positive that you're positive for this hormone, but the tumor remains the same.
So
The
tell me now.
MRI measured
Mhm.
the tumor, and that tumor did not move, even though I had all the hormones positive for an aggressive cancer. And up to the point of all those weeks back and forth and the 2 weeks in between that I had to do the MRI, it still did not grow.
So tell me something. When you go through all of that and the time for surgery now, how did you cope? How did you manage? I mean,
I
how
didn't
did
get
it?
to surgery yet.
Okay.
I didn't get to surgery. So now that she knows that I'm positive,
Mhm.
I'm not the person that would get surgery first.
Okay.
So I still had to wait. So I'm the person that had to do treatment first. So now I had to do chemotherapy and another treatment, which they refer to as a targeted treatment. When I was given the booklets to read on what the treatment is, one is the chemo. It's called, I won't mention the specific name, but I know the names. But the ones that they gave me, actually, when everybody was telling me to drink this, Jamaicans, and we are saying drink
Mm-hmm.
the soursop leaf tea and the merengue and, whatever else, the guinea hen weed and all of that. The doctor said to me, this is a plant-based treatment that they're going to use on me. So there are treatments out there that are made from plants that are used for chemotherapy. So a lot of studies are being done, and people are saying these are all chemical treatment. They're not all chemical treatment. All the treatment that I got, plus the targeted treatment, were all plant-based. Um, and so she said to me, if you're going to take any bush medicine or tea, bring it, let me see it so I know if there are any interactions with the one that we're giving you. However, I didn't. So I just waited, started the treatment. But this was a rough treatment. I had to do 12 weeks of chemo, 12 chemo sessions before I actually got to surgery. So
You have to do 12 weeks of chemo before you actually get to surgery. Wow.
I had to do 12 weeks of chemo before I actually got to surgery. So 12 weeks of chemo. I was supposed to start on a Wednesday. It so happened that I couldn't start the Wednesday because of something that had to do with my insurance and how the doctor wrote the prescription and all of that. So I didn't get to start on the Wednesday. And so I was actually upset at the hospital that I didn't get it through, but God was one step ahead of me all the way. I can truly say that because the treatment started on a Friday, which made it easier for me because on a Friday, when I took the day off from work, because all this time I'm still working.
You're working from home?
It was during the pandemic, and so we were able to work from home. I went into the office a few times, but as soon as the chemo started, one of my supervisors said that I could actually stay home because I would be immunocompromised, and with COVID at the same time, it'd be worse immunocompromised. So I started to work from home. We were going into the office, some days, but I was allowed to work from home. And so when I did the chemo on a Friday, so I said God worked it out in that way. I wasn't able to stay up at all. So if I did it on a Wednesday, I wasn't able to work on Thursday. I would not be able to work. So it so happened that it fell on a Friday. And so when I did my treatment on a Friday and was totally knocked out, I had Saturday and Sunday to recoup and then go back to work on Monday.
So in other words, what you do then is that when you get the chemo, you have to stay in bed all day or for maybe 2 days or so.
Yes. So the chemo, it's really rough.
Yes.
When I say rough, I mean rough. Your body is listless. You're tired. You don't want anybody to talk to you. Your stomach, some people become nauseous to the point of vomiting. That did not happen. I was just nauseous. And so you're given medication for the nauseousness. And while you're doing the chemo, you're given these strong medication for allergies because you become allergic to the chemo. So they have to also give you a strong dose of allergy medicine, which is sometimes like a hospital dose of Benadryl or whatever. And so when I come home, I would sleep the whole time. So my chemo, because again, as because I'm looking at the comments at the same time and talking. So
don't get distracted with the comments.
I really did. And so because I did a targeted treatment and the chemo, so when I came home, I was just burnt out, tired, and so the anti-allergy medication would make me sleep, and so I would sleep the whole time. This chemo, it was intravenously, the one that I took. There's no pill form of it. That kind of chemo, there's no pill form, so it was intravenously. They had to place a port inside my chest they
Mm-hmm.
place the port like right under your skin, and so that's where each time that they have to give you the chemo, they access that port and give you the treatment through it. So I had a port in for quite a while as well. But the chemo really makes you tired and listless. And I would say to anybody out there who has to go through this or may go through this, that you have to have family support. Whoever I could find to order food for me, because it was pandemic, to order food to drop at the door by Uber Eats or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have the money to buy it, I call somebody, I'll find a family member, I'll find a friend. I had people from work who would go by the restaurant nearby, stop by me soup, drop it off. If I needed somebody to go do grocery, we would order online, drop it off, or I could call a friend, a coworker, and say, "Listen, I ordered some things. Please pick it up at the store for me." So it was a whole community of things going on
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So after I finished this whole 12 weeks, and I say a whole community support everybody, New Jersey, New York,
Let,
Florida,
let me
Jamaica.
ask you something before you go any further. You're from St. Elizabeth,
Yes.
the breadbasket parish of Jamaica, the beautiful parish.
Yeah.
Um, how did your family down there really react to all this that is going on with you? Apart from your kids and apart from the up here, how
Uh,
did your brothers and sisters, you know?
well, some of them are weaker than me, and so they're
Mm,
ready to cry and behave bad, and I was about to die, and some of them, even though you're going through the sickness, you have to say no, it's not that bad, because they are not able to see you at the time, and so for them, even the sound of the name
mhm.
makes people think that you're dying. So people will be thinking that I'm skinny, I lost weight, and that the the oncologist gave me a medication to build me energy, and instead of losing weight during chemo, I
Mhm.
gained weight.
Wow.
And so I did not lose an ounce. From I started to take that medication, I started to eat, and I gained a pound every month I went in. I was a pound heavier.
Okay, so all of that now, when did the actual surgery begin?
Okay, so the actual surgery, after doing the 12 weeks of chemo, I took a
Yeah.
break, and then the actual surgery happened. So, what can happen, I won't say actually what I did, but what can happen in a breast cancer surgery, the surgeon will give you quite a few options. And so, one option is to totally take off the breasts. That will give you like a 0% rate of it not return, because the breasts are gone. There's nothing there,
Yeah.
no tissues, no anything. Um, and then, in the US, they'll give you the option to buy prosthetic breasts and wear on your
Mhm.
bra, whatever. Um, the other option is to do a lumpectomy, which is they take out the full area, but the full area where the tumor is, and leave everything else.
Mhm.
Um, the other option is to take out the tissues of one or both breasts. You
Mhm.
can treat either the one that has the tumor, or you can opt to do both.
Mhm.
It's your option. The surgeons give you that option, um, and replace it with um, prosthetics, which
Yeah.
is what you see everybody doing, the breast fillers and
Mhm.
whatever else. And so they will take you through to that process. You can either, for those who, for aesthetic appeal, you can either leave your nipples on, or you can take the nipples off, or whichever, whatever you want. They give you all of that option. Um, the surgeon also gives you the percentage rate of it returning if you take either options. The only one that is 0% that you won't have breast cancer is to take the whole thing away. When if you do like partial, like take the tissues out and do a replacement, then um, it's about a 3 to 5% rate that it
Mhm.
could return somewhere. Um, but those are options, and you people are grown and they can decide what they want to do, and which option works best for them in their situation. um, Prior to doing the surgery as well, or just before the surgery, the surgeon will explain that they do testing. So even though you make a decision as to what you want them to do, whether you want them to take the whole thing off, leave
Mm.
nothing, take tissues out, do a prosthetic replacement, put fillers, whatever. If they go in, they test the lymph nodes, which from all my going to school, I just know of the lymph nodes. I didn't know what they were there for. And
Mm.
basically, in layman terms, the surgeon said these are the policemen. They guard anything that wants to escape to go anywhere. So
Yes.
they have to test the lymph nodes to see if the cancer got to the lymph nodes. So if the cancer has spread to the guards, then it's going to enter the body. And so,
At that time, your wound didn't enter the body as yet, though.
well, I didn't know. We
Okay.
just going about the business of um to the
Testing and so forth.
surgery. And right, so it's when you are doing the surgery that they actually do the testing. So it's a whole coordination between the surgeon and the lab in the hospital to get back the results to the surgeon while you're under.
Mm-hmm.
um some of the surgeries take long. Mine, I was under for about 7 hours. Never know that I could survive anything like that. So they tested the lymph nodes, the results come back, and the thing what they tell you before you go under is that your decision can change depending on the result of the lymph nodes. So if the lymph node comes back with being positive that it's been spreading, then they might make a different decision than what you decided, and they tell you that before you go under. Say, okay, this is your decision, but if we find anything, this is what we're going to have to do. Thankfully, as I said, nothing had spread. um, but then here comes the healing process. I've never.
But before you get to that, Miss Henry,
Mhm.
the healing process, before we get to that part, well, the whole surgery, 7 hours of surgery, um, when you woke up, what happened when you woke up? In the sense of all the surgery and everything, what happened?
Oh Lord. So when I woke up, I heard somebody saying, because I'm half awake, half asleep
Yes.
still, but they have to kind of wake you up. I heard the surgeon or one of the nurses saying her heart. And when I heard that, I made sure I was awake because I didn't want to die. When I heard that, I made sure that I could open my eyes because I honestly didn't want to die. All I could think of was, I have to do this for my children. I have to be here for my children.
Mhm.
Um, and so my heart rate, I think it went down. Um, my blood pressure probably dropped, um, but it came right back up right after. Um, this can also be because of the treatment that I was given. Some of the treatment that they give you, the chemo treatments and the targeted treatments and stuff like that, they can actually work on your heart. So during the treatment, I have to actually do an ultrasound of my heart like every 3 months to
Mhm.
ensure that my heart is still functioning the way it should. And these are scary situations. You're already going through a heart disease, and you already now you know that you are going through this, and this may be the effect. But the doctor explained it like this: the benefits of doing the chemo treatment outweighs the risks of what it causes.
Mhm.
So I had to just do what I was doing,
Mhm.
stay strong the whole time,
Mhm.
um, and actually go through this. Yes, when I heard them say my heart, then I was kind of like shaken.
Mhm.
Um, but I woke up eventually. And for the first time in all the visits that I have done to this breast surgeon, is the first time I saw her smile.
Wow. If you hold on for me, Miss Henry, if you're just joining us on the Make We Talk program, we're not talking politics today. We're not talking about the government of Jamaica or anything else. We're talking about breast cancer, and it can affect men and women. It's a very serious disease, and we need to sit down and talk about it. If we have family members who are survivors of it, we can talk about it because it's something to be talked about. And a lot of people may come on the program tonight and look and say, "Oh, Jeffrey not talking about anything that I want to hear." No, you got to hear about this. Your healing process now, Miss Henry. Hold on there. But before you go any further, should I say this? I, I know you're married. Um, how did your husband, when you spoke to your husband about the whole thing of going through, maybe I shouldn't go down the show, but I'm going to go down the road. Have you, the, the getting, the surgery done and all the stuff? How did he react?
Um, well, when I met my current husband, I met him long ago, but
How long
on
did you meet him?
years ago, like years ago, before I was married and have children and all of that. But when we reconnected, I it was right on the cusp of being diagnosed with breast cancer, um, and I asked him to wait. I said, "Let me just get through with this," um, and that's what happened. So it's difficult because my husband may have a strong front on the outside, but is a little weakling on the inside, uh, a big teddy bear. So they might go out there and be pounding the streets and pretending like they're big and strong, and then to know all that I go through, sometimes he doesn't even want to hear what I have been through. Um, so coming on to the healing process,
But does he stand by you and everything? I mean, no, you
well,
know.
yes, yes. In whatever I do, in whichever way he can help. And as I said, it takes a community. Um, it takes a whole community, and so is very understanding of the situation, um, and is aware of risks,
Mhm.
and is aware of all that can happen, even from now on, because we're never safe. Um, we're never safe, and so he's aware of all of that. um, I'm not somebody who will hide information or whatever from my significant other, and so as I said, I'm pretty open with um, people who are close to me. I let them know exactly what is going on, and I might be a little bit shy, camera shy, and all of that, but I'm pretty outspoken at home, so everybody
But
knows the truth.
you're doing a great job, Miss Henry. Miss Henry,
Um,
go.
if you could see the heart, I probably would need another ultrasound.
Oh my God.
I probably would need another ultrasound. um,
So tell us about your healing process now. You go through all of that and the time for healing. How did you get over that? How did you cope with that? What happened?
well, my same driver took me home that night. Um,
What is
my
you said the same driver? Come on now. Is it a family member
Yeah,
or
my
what?
same family member. He took me home.
Yeah.
My uncle actually.
Yeah, come on, say that. Give
My
him up.
uncle, he never left me. He was never late, not even by a minute. So he took me home, and I had arranged already for people to be here. So while I was doing treatment, my sister from New York came. Um, when the surgery time came, another, sister came, and it was just a whole community. Cousins from in Florida, they everybody knew their role and had their schedule set up before I got home.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got home, by the next morning, one helper was here. Um, One helper was here and woke up to breakfast in the morning. Somebody to help me get dressed, somebody to help me move around. Take. I was treated like a princess. Didn't look like a princess, but I was treated like a princess. And so they took their turns, and everybody had their schedule, and everybody was on time, and everybody made sure that I ate and that I took my medication and that I was fed, and all of that. My kids were champions. They played their roles. My son struggled a little bit, but soon after, he saw what was going on and everything that was explained to him, and that I looked stronger some days and whatever, then, it made things a little bit better. And he had, as I said, people around who became counselors and therapists and whatever it is that he needed, to make him understand a little bit better. Um, but yeah, I had a whole community of people, and family members would call and video every day, um, from far and wide. Those from
Mm-hmm.
England and Canada and Jamaica be on video chat. And the worst part of it is that when you do this surgery, it's the sleeping. It's very difficult. It's based on your sleeping position. How do you sleep? How do you ever sleep before this surgery?
Mm-hmm.
What position did you use to sleep? Now you may have to adjust your position. Now your arms are disrupted because you have nerves that are disrupted and touched, and things that are happening in your body that never usually happen. And so this is a whole total adjustment. And so, fortunately, I had a cousin who was a nurse that was just retired right before I was diagnosed. I told you God was one step ahead of me all the way, a registered nurse. And so she was here a lot right after the surgery. So she took care of me totally, ran back home, would be here the next weekend, and so on and so forth. Um, During this time, obviously, I had taken a full FMLA medical leave from work. Prior to that, I was on intermittent, so that whenever I feel sick, yes, guys, if any of you become ill, there is something called intermittent medical leave. And so you can ask them that I have this period and this period in within which I think I am going to be ill, and the doctors will write it up for you, and you can have that. So even though you're working, whichever day that you're off is counted as your sick FMLA day. So you're
Mm-hmm.
actually on FMLA, but not a full straight FMLA. So I had that flexibility. Um, so actually, I had a registered nurse being my helper. So I was
Very good.
fortunate in that way. As I said, I give God all the glory. It's not just me, it's not just my family. God was a step ahead of me all the way to see that she retired, like, just I think the year before, or during the
Mm-hmm.
same, it was during the same year. Um, and so it was right, everything was just right on time. Um, and I just had all the help that they needed. But in getting over all of that, your life actually changes. So things that you used to be able to stretch for or bend down and lift
Mm-hmm.
up and be this strong person. For those of you who know me, know that I like to go in the garden, I plant flowers, I like to use the machete, I chop this, I cut that. And no, I couldn't. And my children were used to seeing me being this strong mom. And there's certain things that I just could not do. And sometimes I just get frustrated. I close my door and I go to sleep because I was used to doing that. A lot of the things that were up in cupboards or high somewhere, now I had to put them low. I put them on the floor so that I can reach them easily. So there a lot of adjustments had to be done in the home. Um, Things in my closet had to be shifted around. No, I was never somebody to wear joggers and jogging pants and loose fitting tops with,
Mm-hmm.
matching joggers. Now I had to have a closet full of, joggers and all of that to make it easier to slip on and slip off when I go to all this treatment. Fortunately, again, family members and my children and stuff, they would order all the chemo stuff online. I didn't know there was chemo cream, chemo lip balm. There's a special shirt that has the zipper across the top, that you don't have to take your clothes off. You just zip it down and this part falls, so you can do your treatment without actually undressing.
Mm-hmm.
I got all that luxury. Um, and there's everything available out there. Um, I'm going to retract a little bit to chemo because this part is important. That when you're going through chemo as well, you suffer from what's called neuropathy. It's just tingling and kind of like a burning pain in your hands or feet that can happen as a result of chemo. And yes, I lost my hair as well. It's just coming back.
So,
Yes,
Miss
I.
Henry, Miss Henry, you lost the hair. Sorry to be continue. You lost the hair, but that the hair you have now is your natural hair.
Yes, this is my real hair. It's actually, and guys, don't shoot me. This is not chemical treatment. I don't perm it anymore. I had learned to do a lot of stuff with my hair. I was somebody who hated wigs and weaves and whatever, and I got to have different kind of wig, different style. Learn how to style my wig and how to paste them on and take them off, and so now that it has grown back somewhat, this is a keratin treatment. So it's like a natural treatment that's done. It's not anything like the perms or whatever you use,
Mm.
or what I used to use. So I try to stay natural. Yeah, it will go back natural when this wears out. And so I may keep it natural for a while, and then I like to switch up my hair.
Mhm.
Um, so, but then for neuropathy, what I was going to say about the
Yeah,
tingling
go
and
ahead.
burning in your hands and feet. One thing that I learned at the hospital was um, ice pack or a cold foot bath while you are doing the chemo will help to prevent neuropathy. And what I mean is, you're literally sitting, getting the treatment, and have your feet in a bath of ice and ice water.
Mm.
Or there are special socks out there that have the ice pack pads in there and the gloves as well. You can put them in the freezer, and while you're doing it, you put your hands and your feet in those ice packs. So it's a glove, but it's made with the ice pack inside on either side. And for your feet, it's a sock, but it has the ice pack inside. So you can just drop those in the freezer, um, and take them with you. So I used to freeze them overnight. I had to buy an igloo. Yes, these are little
Mhm.
things that you need to know, or you can buy an ice pack, one of those cold pack bags that can keep things frozen. And so while you're doing the chemo, you put your hands and your feet in it, in the ice, so that it prevents the neuropathy. Because prior to that, I've seen a cancer patient and she was limping, and that was as a result of neuropathy. Apparently, she said she didn't know that they had this ice treatment that could prevent it. So I would say that I said that it was very important because of the neuropathy, that people know that you can put your hands and your feet in an ice bath, or you can buy the specially made um, gloves and socks that has the ice packs in there and use it while doing chemo. So that helps a lot.
Your journey, a journey that no one ever expected, but you have been through it. And I must say that you are a very strong woman. I way how you speak to us here on the Make We Talk program. Um, for those who are just joining us, we're talking about breast cancer. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And women and well, women, go out there and do your mammograms. It is very important you do your mammograms. Very important, as what Miss Henry said, that you're in the shower, you examine yourself. Men do the same thing too, because men can have breast cancer. And for us to really, you know, survive all of this thing, you had changed your diet. You have changed the way how you eat and everything, Miss Henry. Tell us some more about that.
Um, Before I get to that,
Go ahead.
there's one important point because there might be family members or whatever online who is listening.
Mhm.
In all of that, I did a genetic testing. And what the genetic testing does is take a blood sample to see if you are predisposed for cancer. It was found that I have a gene mutation that makes me 3 to 4 times more likely to have breast cancer than any regular person out there in the community.
Repeat that again, please.
I was tested because there were some family members of mine that, had breast cancer and they're not too close, but they were saying that, okay, since it sounds like it's in the family, it's not the BRCA1 and the BRCA2 that everybody talks about because it was from a famous celebrity that had it and did the mastectomy before. But I was genetically tested and I have a gene mutation called the ATM. Listen, the name is too long for me to say it. It's for short called the ATM gene. For all those who like the Google and look up, you can look it up. It's the ATM gene. I have it. And so my children are at risk. And so any sibling that I have could potentially be at risk of maybe carrying the same gene that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so for anybody who is on this platform that may have anybody in their family with stuff, they can get genetically tested. Um, so these are kind of information that I really didn't know, having this dense breast and all of that. Nobody thought that, okay, I have a gene mutation. Nobody mentioned it until when I got to this stage. Then the hospital said, oh, we can do a genetic testing. Because especially for people from St. Elizabeth or Treasure Beach or wherever that have different mix of generations, and Jamaica is a melting pot, and there are certain kinds of race too that do carry a mutation for cancer. So it goes to show that if you really meet up in an issue, then you probably could suggest to a doctor, for those of you who are in Jamaica and stuff, to suggest a genetic testing to find out if you or your family are predisposed to that.
I I I must say that I have two sides of my family who has cancer. My father's side of the family and my mother's side. My current grandmother, who is alive now, she's a survivor of breast cancer. She's 83 years old, yes.
Mhm.
I think she's 83. I hope Grandma, I know you're watching me, please. Don't grip my neck when I call you. I know, and she's a very strong woman. She has been through it. I have a cousin of mine who lives in Old Harbor who is a survivor of breast cancer too. So, maybe I should test my genes to figure out, if
You may need to do the genetic
yes,
testing.
I may need to do it.
All right. But getting back to your question about
Mhm.
my eating habits. As I
Yes.
said, I was basically a picky eater. I didn't eat certain things. Um, I was a lover of fried chicken,
Wow.
but I also love seafood. When I started out my journey, a lot of people chimed in and don't eat sugar, don't eat this, don't eat any meat, don't eat. And when I laid out to my oncologist all that I ate, um, when I laid out to my oncologist all that I ate, she only said to me, there's nothing else for me to tell you. Um, you only cannot eat uncooked meat. So she say, if you are somebody that does sushi and stuff like that, not while you're doing treatment, do not eat anything that's uncooked. One other advice um, she gave to me, um, besides the uncooked, grapefruit.
Yes.
I did not know that grapefruit had anything to do with certain medication. She said they're not sure what it does, but grapefruit has some effect on certain kinds of medication. So while I was on chemo, I couldn't eat grapefruit. Not that I really loved it, but my eating habit was that I don't eat anything dairy. All my stuff is dairy free and all of that. I occasionally eat ice cream. If I do, most times I try to get the dairy free one as well. I have currently stopped eating chicken. All my meat were chicken and fish, and any seafood I'd eat like crab and shrimp and stuff, but not not in particular. But this was just chicken and fish mainly. I'm a lover of fruits, so fruits was the order of the day. I eat a lot of nuts and stuff like that. I don't eat any white, so I try to avoid white rice, white bread, um, white flour. If I do white flour, sometimes I mix with almond flour. Sometimes I would get spelt flour and mix it with the regular flour. So I stay away from any white or bleached foods. There are certain ingredients that I'm allergic to as well. So some things were just taken out of my diet. And honestly, I'm not hung up on food. So if there's something that really affects me, even though I may love it, I just get rid of it right away.
Mhm.
Right now, there's really nothing much that I need to get rid of. More than I said recently, I have decided to stop eating chicken, because even though sometimes they say it's organic or it's free range, I'm still a little bit skeptical that um, some type of hormones may still be there.
Mhm.
Um, so I have adjusted in that way. I basically don't use vegetable oil or thing like that anymore. It's coconut oil or olive oil. Um, just small adjustments that you wouldn't think that would make a big difference, but it does make a big difference. I
Yeah.
had a stomach problem previous to this, a couple of years ago, and the doctor wanted to put me on medication, and all I did was change my diet, and so I've kind of stick to that diet over the years, and sticking to that kind of a diet has really helped me because what I had done was a doctor had once said to me, don't drink anything from a bottle or box unless it's water. And so whatever juice that I do, I blend it, I make it. I bought a smoothie maker, and so I make my own juice. Um, Majority of the times, if I'm on the road, then the one-off times that I do it, I don't think it has such a major effect if I drink something that's not made at home.
As we close off, because we do this program here on breast cancer for an hour, we're gonna try and get some other people to come on to speak about their journey in breast cancer. I'm gonna see if I can get my cousin to come on also,
Hmm.
to speak about breast cancer. Before we go, Miss Henry, what would you tell other women out there to do to prevent themselves from having breast cancer as a cancer survivor?
Well, as I said, there are certain things that you can't really prevent because even though I'm tested and it may say I have the gene mutation for breast cancer, when talking to the doctors, they're not even 100% sure of what really is causing breast cancer. It can be environment, it can be food, it can be genes, could be anything. But what I would suggest is that try to avoid all of these processed foods. Make sure you read your labels, because a lot of these foods have hidden labels and things that are hidden in their ingredient listing that we shouldn't be consuming. I bought a pack of cornmeal one day to make some porridge. It was during COVID. Uh, I think it was during my recovery time. And I ran into the store, grabbed the pack of cornmeal, didn't read it, came out, came home. And when I put the cornmeal in the pot, it couldn't thicken. And I was
Wow.
wondering, the cornmeal was disappearing in the water. I'm not the person who likes to make videos and stuff like that. And I did it again because I thought my coconut milk had spoiled. And I'm like, okay, let me do it the next day and use different set of milk and everything started from scratch and the cornmeal disappeared again. And when I took up the bag and read it, it plainly said that the cornmeal was made from bioengineered food.
My God.
So we have to be very vigilant about our labels and what we are putting in our bodies, because a lot of these things that look really fancy and these all these fancy labels and stuff have things in there that is just not good for your bodies. There are certain things that I eat, and if it pains my stomach, I don't eat it again. But there's just some people that just really love food. And I understand that. If you're not like me, who can just cut it off and let it go, and use something else or find a substitute, then I know it is difficult. But there are some people, I've had friends who just love food and they'll just eat and they'll eat anything. And there are some of you who may be online that have this same problem, that you love food and there are just some things that are just good for you and you can't let go this and you can't let go that, and you can't let go the white bread because it tastes good with the cheese when you buy it hot, a Hammond's downtown Savlamar, you know. um yes, I've been to Hammond's and have the hot bread with the cheese. I used to do that, but there comes a time when my body said, you can't take any more processed food. And the moment my stomach hurts, then I know it's not good for me and I just cut it off. So we have to be very vigilant as to what we consume, what we put in our bodies. Ensure that you do your regular mammograms, listen to your body, do your own self exam. It's online. You can pull up something how to do your self exam, what it feels like, what it looks like, what you should see and what you shouldn't see, what should, if you notice anything abnormal coming from your breast that is not normally there, then something is wrong. Don't see it and say, oh, probably something else. We're Jamaican like to brush off stuff and say something has caused it. Um, just be aware of your body. And I really don't love to go to the doctor, but I like to go to the doctor. I don't love the doctors, but I like to go to the doctor. As soon as my body tells me something, I'm going.
In other words, what you're saying, Miss Henry, that both men and women should have a relationship with their body.
Both men and women need to have a relationship with your body. And as soon as you feel something is off, if you are a person regularly going out on your duties every day, you don't suffer from headache, you never have high blood pressure or anything like that, and all of a sudden you have this strange headache, and you're not a headache sufferer, you don't care how hot the time is, your head don't hurt and whatever. If you're a person who don't have any lump, you don't suffer from cysts and stuff like that, and you feel something growing, pay attention. If you don't normally have a stomach ache and you have a cramp, adjust what you eat and figure out, you might need to go to the doctor if it doesn't stop. We can't just sit home and say we're going to treat it with this, or so and so had this and so I'm going to treat it with that. No, because for every ailment that you have, yours might be different from somebody else. You might have a stomach issue, it might not be the same as yours. I might have something that's wrong with my eyes, not the same problem that you have. So, and a lot of Jamaicans like to share medicine as well. So they might have a stomach. Oh, you went to the doctor the other day. What the doctor said? Give me some of the medicine. Stuff like that. Um, those are things that we need to get rid of. Be aware. Follow up on our doctors. When the doctor say, "I need to see you in 6 months," it doesn't mean that the doctor wants your money. The doctor needs you to stay healthy.
And
Um,
and you personally have to stay healthy yourself in the sense of eat healthy.
in right, in terms of eating healthy,
Mm.
exercise is also important nowadays. I know everybody is driving, have their own cars, blah blah blah. Even in Jamaica, you go home and everybody is driving. We've cut out the exercise, and one of the things that was very vital in recovery was for me to exercise. I might not have been able to walk the 3 miles that I used to, but I was able to do a half a mile, and which
Mhm.
was enough for the doctors and the nurses. If I used to walk 45 minutes, it was now down to 15 minutes, and it was still fine. But I still had to find a way to move and push my body through the pain, because right now I've been a survivor since December, but I still have to take medication to prevent all these hormones from
Acting up.
activating. and yes, and stay active. They have to block all of these, and so I still have side effects of medications, but I still have to keep active. um, doesn't mean that I'm going to work myself to death, but it just means that I have to make sure my body is mobilized in such a way as not to cause great harm to myself.
Miss Sherine Henry, hail from the parish of St. Elizabeth, a very strong woman who has been through a lot, but still standing tall and still believing in her God. This is the Make We Talk program. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Come next week. I'll be having somebody else again to speak to us about breast cancer and their survival of breast cancer. Remember, men, do a prostate test. We Jamaican men have this tendency, no man, no doctor, not do whatever, whatever. Stop being stupid. Stop being stupid and do a prostate test. Women, do your multiple mammograms and make sure everything is okay.
Is yearly mammogram or
Yearly
6 months.
mammograms, rather. Sorry, thank you. Yes, I don't know anything about that.
It's a yearly mammogram or 6 months, depending. And if you have dense breast, then you may have to do ultrasound um, instead of, or mammogram plus ultrasound. So if that is the route that you have to go, then it's better to know than to not know. And then by the time you find it, it's already too late.
Miss Henry, 2 minutes, your final word to your fellow Jamaicans and to those who are watching us from around the world.
Well, my final words would be to, if you find yourself in this situation like I did, um, just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes the whole country, a whole community to help support you in a cancer journey. You become tired, listless, weak, nervous, mentally drained, even depressed. So if you ever in this situation, you can call me whoever you are from wherever you are. If you have my number, I'll be there to support you along the way. If you find yourself in this situation, don't be afraid to talk about it, because we as Jamaicans, the moment we hear the word "see," oh, it's a hush hush, and nobody is to know, and nobody's to talk about it, because nobody, they're gonna look at you different, and they're gonna treat you different, and but it getting the word out makes people aware of what is out there. There's so much research now that is being done on all different types of cancer. There have been, since I have completed treatment, there have been more improved treatment that is out there, newer treatment, more improved treatment that you can attach to your body and go home with. So I would say to you all, just be aware of what you eat, how you eat, stay healthy, exercise. For those of you who have the beach like I have behind me nearby, do your swimming, do your jogging, do your walks. I know it's tiring to come home from work, but it just make that extra push. I've walked through so much pain. It's not funny, but we have to make, if 15 minutes of walk is better than no walk at all, a 10 minutes of walk is better than no walk at all. Just don't say you're not, you can't, because one day becomes the next and the next day becomes the other, without any exercise at all. Before you know it, you become listless, lazy, and a lot of all kind of illnesses start to set in, especially when you get to my age and the aging process started. Then you have.
Mr. Henry, you talk as if you're 60 something years old, man. You look very young.
I'm not going to go down that road with you, Mr. Tavares. Um, but as I said, you have to make sure you keep up with your exercise regimen. Make sure you eat healthy, stay strong, laugh a lot, pray to God, read your Bible, stay in touch with friends and family, even those that don't really reach out to you and they're too busy with their phone and the social media. Call each other, talk, Have good times, hang out with your friends, do stuff. You don't know how long any of us will be here or will be around. Um, you don't know, when any of us is going through anything. Check up on somebody that you have not seen in a while. I had a friend who he didn't see me in a whole year, and when he saw me, I said, yeah, this is the reason why I wasn't around. And he's like, man, when you miss somebody, you just really need to call them. So that is the case. When you miss somebody or haven't seen somebody in a while, you really need to call them. I reach out to everybody, and make sure you, as I said, take care of your mental health as well. I know, Jeffrey, you did a program on mental health not so long ago,
Yeah.
on the radio station. It is very important that you take care of your mental health as well, because you need that in order to go through whatever sickness it is that you have to go through. And even in these times of wars and all these, things that are happening in the news here and abroad, Jamaica, wherever, we have to take care of our mental health. It is very important. So your exercise, your diet, and your mental health. Keep connected to God and stay
Mm.
connected to your friends and families.
You know, I must say good evening to my Cayman mother. She knows she's watching us. She's a survivor of breast cancer. And I'm going to see if I can get her to come on to speak about her journey. When you see somebody who you love go through something as breast cancer, you may not show it to the person, but it tears inside of you so much that sometimes when you look on the person, you see how they have been through it and they have come through it. It brings tears to your eye, but you can't let the person know that you're crying because of the pain and the hurt that they have been through. And I'm saying this to everyone out there who may have a family member, who may have a wife or a girlfriend or someone who has been through it. Do not leave their side, no matter what. Stick by them because this thing is real. And I believe, in my heart of heart, I deeply believe that some of the stuff that we have in Jamaica, the guinea hen weed, the dog bush, the this here, the that, and the good old ganja can cure cancer. That's my greatest belief. And the Bible says you must believe. And the herbs of the earth is the fullness of the Lord. And I believe deep down that those things can cure cancer. By the way, Miss Henry, someone said to her that you're a very nice lady. I'm
I
not
thank
gonna.
you, whoever that is.
Yes, I think it's Mr. Wilford Radigan. He's saying that Miss Henry is a very nice lady. You know,
Thank you,
so
Mr. Rattigan.
and people out there, please support each other. Men, my Jamaican men out there, my fellow Jamaican man friend them out there, stop this stupidness and go and do a prostate test. Because right now, I think Jamaica and Trinidad is leading prostate cancer within the Caribbean. So go out there and do your test. Miss Henry, I must say thank you for coming onto the program. Thank you so much for coming and share your journey, what you have been through, and now where you are. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. Have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone. And this is where I say so long from here until you hear my voice again. Will I be talking politics, mental health, or breast cancer? Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. May God bless you and may God bless the Jamaica land we love. Have a good night, everyone.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend.